Okay, well, Josh, we get questions all of the time um, of guys want to know when are they going to feel their TRT working? Now, that's a hard, because that's the question we get all the time, but it's hard to say what exactly are you looking for? I don't think they know. They just want to
Right.
know when something's going to work. So, what I think we want to do tonight is do basically a little timeline. So what
Okay.
we're going to do is break it down into you start TRT, and then we'll go through different things like when a roundabout. Now it's different for everybody, obviously.
Right.
And since you're on it and I'm on it, we can also throw in our 2 cents of when
Sure.
we notice things. All right. So the first thing I wrote down was sleep improvement.
Okay. Sleep. That that's a hard one to kind of nail down. Of the guy, I mean, it's something we assess for in our
Yeah.
clinic. We talk about that specifically if it's an issue in guys, because when I do the history and physical on somebody, I'm asking them certain common questions. Sleep always gets brought up. Um, That one's doesn't really have a good time frame as to when it improves for most guys, but it generally, and I will say this generally, there's nothing like set in stone for here. It's not like everybody's going to fit into this bill. Generally, it does improve in guys that go on testosterone. I had a guy today, matter of fact, he was like, my sleep's phenomenal now. Like, I didn't ask him that. He just flat out told me.
Good.
Um, and that's I will say of I would say out of 10 men that get put on TRT, 7 or 8 are going to come back and tell me that their sleep is improved before their second follow-up. So within 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. And I would say of those 7 or 8 that tell me that their sleep is improved, probably 4 or 5 of them are going to come back and tell me that their sleep's improved by their first follow-up, which is 10 weeks later.
Okay.
Okay. So I'd say half of those guys are going to have sleep improvements by week 10.
Right.
And then a larger percentage, a smaller percentage of them will have sleep improvement by a week or by month 6. And then the other like 10 to 20% may not have any change, or maybe they don't sleep as good, but that could be something completely unrelated to.
Do you have any people that don't sleep as good since taking it?
Very few, very few. I've had, I think a lot of that tends to be guys that do a lot of shift work,
Oh,
where they're not in a steady sleep wake pattern where, hey, I'm on day shift this week, I'm on night shift next week.
yeah, that's tough.
And I think it just makes it hard for everybody. I have a good friend of mine that he works in a hospital setting in the OR and does anesthesia, and he doesn't have good sleep, but he also is doing nights and call and stuff, not like every week, but it's enough that he can't just go and work from like
Yeah, there's no routine. You can't get a routine down.
correct. There's no normal like
Yeah, that
set schedule
sucks.
for him. So he does struggle with sleep, but he's always struggled with that. But I think it's because of his career choice.
Sure.
Um, but I would say the vast majority of men definitely get improvement in their sleep quality. I do want to point out too that testosterone, when you first start, does increase your risk for. Well, I shouldn't say it does increase your risk. You can have a central sleep apnea develop for a brief period of time. That does eventually go away, and it can potentially, which that could worsen obstructive sleep apnea if you have it for that period of time. So these are things that we obviously assess for. So if we got like a guy with, excuse me, a short neck, or a really thick neck, or a really obese guy, these are things that we're going to have to make sure that we weed out before we start. And the H&H tells a pretty good story on that too before we get started, because they have a high normal value H&H, we're starting to, at least on like LabCorp scale, we'll just say that for like 51 hematocrit. I got a guy that has a 50 or 51 hematocrit baseline without TRT on board. We should probably be talking about sleep apnea.
Right.
or even over it, right? Maybe they're 52, and we're not living in Denver. We're here at 1,000 feet above sea level, if that, and where we're at out here. So we shouldn't be having hematocrits that high
Right.
out the gate.
So,
That tells me some form of hypoxia is happening.
and then what do you do for that?
We would recommend a sleep study for sure,
Hmm.
to make sure that um, that if they do have sleep apnea, that's managed. And as long as they get on a CPAP or some type of mandibular advancement device, which I have used, I personally don't like that because it actually hurts my jaw. The other thing too is I'm a mouth breather when I sleep. I used to kind of laugh at the mouth tape. I was like, that was the stupidest thing. But the older I get, it's like when I'm sleeping, I don't know that my mouth comes open, and so the tape just keeps it shut, so it can't
Oh,
open. So it forces you to breathe through your nose. So it doesn't, like, when your jaw gets lax and you're kind of laying in a funny position, your mouth just and I'll start breathing through my mouth, and then you're not going to oxygenate very well at sometimes. So they want you to breathe through your nose. So that's what the tape's for.
oh, okay.
I haven't started that yet, but it's something I'm actually going to probably be getting here
Huh.
soon, just to try to see if I thought it was like very gimmicky at first, but then I was like, actually is not a bad idea. So
Yeah.
my wife's going to be slapping it on me during the day.
Yeah,
Shut up,
exactly. That's it. You're gonna glue it on.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, for me, Josh, my sleep, I noticed, I would notice like literally within the first couple weeks that when I was sleeping, I was getting like a deeper sleep,
Okay.
and it wasn't like immediately, like I just knew that like I felt more rested. As I was like a toss and turn kind of person.
Okay.
So I knew I would wake up like 6 times a night. And I realized that I was only waking up like 3 times a night. Because when I wake up, I always look at the clock.
Okay.
And then it'll be like, so I would know like that. And then it was like, if I would go to bed at like 10, and then I would wake up at like 12. And then it would be like 2, 4, 6, something like that. And then I was getting up. But it would be like I would go to bed at 10, and then I'd wake up and it was 2:30.
Okay.
So it was like, I went through like a longer, and that was like 2 to 3 weeks into starting.
Okay.
So that was my,
So you had it pretty soon.
pretty early. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually the second thing that I noticed in starting TRT.
Interesting.
That was the second was the
I
sleep.
mean, that's not uncommon for that to be one of a guy's first things that they notice when they start that.
Right.
I never had problems with sleep. I could literally fall asleep in a battle zone. And like, I mean, because it's my wife, she gets so mad. She's like, you literally have like a switch. And I do. I don't, maybe I have narcolepsy. I don't know. Cause like I will literally be somewhere, and like when my wave of tiredness hits, it's like bang,
That's it. Lights
immediate.
out.
I'm just like, hey,
Nice.
it is so fast,
Yeah.
and it's
I wish I had
and then
that.
I don't move. Like I'll be out. So I fall asleep on our couch out here a lot. Like late at night. Now, not like during the day or anything, but like late at night, I'll be sitting there, I'm comfortable. I'll be watching a show, and I'll be gone. And I'll turn the thing off, and I'll just sit there with my eyes closed. I mean, I'm asleep within 30 seconds.
Really?
And I've slept there the whole night. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and be like,
Damn.
what happened? Didn't even move.
I can't. I'm one of them. Once I'm asleep, I can't wake up because if I wake up, then I'm up.
I
So
gotcha.
like if I fall asleep on the couch or wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, the day starts at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like
Interesting.
that's like I can't go back to sleep. I'm
Can't
just
go back
up.
to sleep. I
Yeah,
can. I can. It's harder. Like if I move around, if you especially have to get up, and that gets the blood moving and everything, then
yeah,
that makes you more awake.
right.
But no, I usually, if I lay back down, man,
Yeah.
it's
So when
same.
I had young babies, it was awful
Yeah.
because I didn't sleep. As soon as I would fall asleep, they would wake up and then I was up and I couldn't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Or if I did fall asleep, it was an hour before I had to wake up. So it was just like those were exhausting, exhausting times.
I remember those years. I did a lot of shift work too earlier in my nursing career, especially when I was in the ER. And then when I worked in PACU, we had to do call. So The call shift started at 10:30. It was 10:30 to 9 was the call shift. But you never got out at 9 o'clock. Never. I mean, if you got out at 9 o'clock, it was like you might as well go buy a lottery ticket
Yeah.
because you got out when the OR was done. So if the OR got done by the grace of God, you would go home, but then they could always call you back in. So that would happen quite frequently, that you would finish up maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and then you get a phone call at 2 a.m. Hey, you have to come in. We had a emergency appendectomy or something. So now you're coming back in, you're waking this person up after surgery, getting them admitted or discharging them, which has happened in the middle of the night. And then now you're going home at 4 o'clock in the morning and you could get called back in at 6.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you were on call till 7 a.m., 7:30.
Oy vey.
So it happened a lot. And see, it was just really annoying, because if you were like, let's say on call for like a specific specialty, you'd only get called for like that particular specialty. But being PACU, you were on call for every specialty because you were the person that woke everybody up. So GYN, urology, orthopedics,
oh my God.
the whole 9 yards, you were like on call. So if somebody was like, hey, I have a case, we have to do it, we're going to do it now, you're in there.
Yeah. I could never do that shit.
That made sleep challenging, obviously.
Yeah.
That was pre-TRT years. So.
Oh, well, geez. That sounds terrible. Like, in all honesty.
I don't miss it at all.
Yeah.
I put it this way. I put my licks in, right?
Yeah.
I earned my keep.
That's terrible. All right. Well, the next one is I guess let's combine these two: energy levels and brain fog.
Okay. Those are
When you
good
start
ones.
to,
Those are probably the first two things that improve in dang near everybody. Brain fog specifically. Energy levels, maybe not so much, but brain fog for sure. First 2 weeks on almost everybody. If you have brain fog, the first 2 weeks were like, whoa, wow, yeah, that was definitely a big change. It was like that for me and literally all the guys that we're treating. I mean, if they have brain fog, it's within the first, literally sometimes even like the first dose. It's crazy.
damn.
That it gets better. It's wild, but I would say 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, that generally improves.
Yeah.
In almost all guys. It's pretty quick. Energy is a little different. I think it's because when we're talking about like energy levels, some guys may think energy means or feels different than somebody else. Okay. So like for me, energy may be, I didn't fall asleep after I came home from work and I stayed awake. So do I have more energy? And other guys are going to take it as, I was able to go like work on my truck this afternoon or something and not be tired, So I think that has a broad application.
Yeah. It's better like very individualized.
And it's very individualized on what like that person's going to consider what they feel as energy, even though we're like, hey, do you feel like you're not as tired as much? Do you feel like you want to go get after it as much? But then they're going to relate it to like their life.
Right. Yeah,
And
exactly.
some guys are like, well, I sit at a computer all day, so I don't really feel like I got much more energy,
Yeah.
So you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's hard.
How's your brain fog? Well, it's better, but I don't really feel like I'm more energetic per se.
Yeah.
So
for me, it was right in line with the sleeping. So I thought that like, obviously you're sleeping better, therefore you had more energy, therefore there was no brain fog. That was like my way of thinking, but it was like roughly in that same time. It was like the first couple weeks, I noticed, and it wasn't like an abundance of energy. Like one day I woke up and it was like, it was like, I noticed, I used to drink like 2 20-ounce Red Bulls a day. And I noticed that by like 2 o'clock they were done. And I noticed at 2 o'clock there was like a quarter of one can left. And then like a couple weeks later there was half of one can left at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
And then it was like a couple weeks later, I didn't drink the second one at lunchtime. Like, so I would have one a day compared to 2.
Yeah.
And then it just, you know what I mean? Like that was, and it was gradual, but.
Yep. Same thing happened to me. I used to drink a cup of coffee in the afternoon religiously. like 2, 3 o'clock would come around, I'd be like, hey, it's time for my afternoon cup of coffee. It was like I needed it to get through the rest of the day and like the evening, and I haven't had an afternoon cup of coffee in months.
Yeah.
And so that was something that got better pretty quick, probably within the first 3 to 4 months for me. It's not uncommon too, when guys start TRT within their first 10 weeks, to have bursts of energy where like they feel really dialed in like that day, and it's like super uncharacteristic, kind of on the blue. They have a bunch of energy, and then like the next day they don't, and they're like, where'd that go? That can happen, and it does happen in certain individuals.
Why,
So
what is that from?
there's testosterone.
Just, oh, I mean, but that's just, it just happens. It's
Yeah,
not,
it's just like,
uh,
it's like all of a sudden, usually, they'll get like these random bursts of energy like a day, and they're like, wow, I feel phenomenal today. Like I just go do a bunch of stuff. And I had that happen to me too. I had some days where I was like, I feel like I'm gonna get up and mow the lawn this morning, and I'm gonna, go do all this
yeah.
stuff. And like I would have never done that.
Huh.
And so it does happen. It doesn't happen to everybody. But it does happen. There also is the honeymoon period where some people will experience that.
Yeah. No, I've
That's
heard that.
that's that like 1 to 2 week time frame where people feel like really good. They're like, wow, this is so amazing. And then it's like blah and falls off. And they're like, it's not working anymore. It's like, no, it's
Oh,
still working. It's,
yeah.
you just don't notice the effects as much. And it's going to be a gradual build back to those
Right.
over
Right.
a
Well, that's,
much longer period of
I
time.
think the hardest thing is people don't realize the new normal,
Yeah,
like it's,
that happens.
yeah.
That happens as we start to get closer to a year, when we're seeing guys back. They're like, you don't really feel like it felt back when I first started. I'm like, because this is what it feels like to be normal.
Right. Exactly. You were starting in the basement. Now you're,
Right.
you
You
know,
know,
playing in the
so,
clouds.
and they get it. They're like, I'm like, so let's go back to where you started. Right. And we have to bring them back. And I'm like, the other option is we just take you off TRT. And they're like, no, no, no.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I
So
think it quickly puts that into perspective pretty quick for
exactly. It's
everybody.
going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one, libido and morning wood.
Okay. So I want to preface that libido and the function of getting an erection are two separate processes.
Hmm.
Okay. So libido is going to be more of a mental response for your desire. They do play into each other. But for example, I mean, that's why erectile dysfunction exists, right? You can have a great libido, but it doesn't work,
Right.
right? So again, two separate functions. We have the mechanical function, and we have the mental function of wanting to do that. Um, Libido is kind of a mixed bag for a lot of guys because it's primarily estradiol related. So I generally do not see libido being something that gets better really quick, but it doesn't take a long time to get better either. So I'd say it's more of like in the middle. I'd say generally by the time I see somebody back in 10 weeks, they will have had probably some slight improvement in that. But I would say most of those strides are going to come between that visit and their 6 month visit
Hmm.
on average. Okay. Some guys are like coming back and they're like, yeah, man, I'm running on all cylinders,
Sure.
put the supercharger on it now. They're really getting it.
Yeah.
But that's not common.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd say that 3 to 6 month range for libido is pretty standard for most people. That again, we're generalizing here. We're not saying that everybody's going to fall in that bucket. This is just where the majority of what I'm seeing these guys come back, and when we do their visit, like when that starts to get better, is generally in that time frame. Okay,
Right.
we're not doing studies on this. This is
Yeah.
Josh's
Just enjoy.
clinic
Yes.
overview data, the
Right.
real world, what I'm seeing and doing.
Yep.
Um, Erectile function or having uh, nocturnal tumescence, which is the technical term for having an erection at night. Okay. Um, a healthy male should be having anywhere from 5 to 7 nocturnal erections. Okay. When we lose the ability to have that many erections at night, we can have erectile dysfunction. So it's like anything else. The cavernosal bodies of the penis need to be filled with blood. several times when we're sleeping. It kind of keeps them open. It keeps the channels good. And when we don't get that, when we don't get the blood flow in there readily while we're sleeping, we lose some of our ability to gain good spontaneous erections, because now we have a little bit of atrophy with that tissue down there. And it could be from various causes. It could be from low testosterone. It could be from blood pressure medications. It could be from psych medications. It could be from prolactin, which can cause testosterone issues. It can be from plaque buildup in arterial leading to there. It could be from damage to the area down there. There's a lot of things to consider. It could be psychologic.
Yeah, that's true.
We see that a lot in younger men, specifically because porn is so prevalent nowadays.
Yeah.
We see a lot of psychological erectile dysfunction. When I was in urology, that was the number one thing I saw was like if a guy had ED and they were under 30, psychological ED, 9.9 times out of 10.
Damn,
and it's
really?
because porn paints this picture of unrealistic expectations.
So they needed like something beyond the stimulate because they're so
Right.
overstimulated
They become
normal.
desensitized, or they are so used to watching clips. And so it's like some guys have PE, premature ejaculation, because they'll watch like a 30-second clip and like they have to get done that quick.
Sweet Jesus.
So then whenever they go to actually engage in the act, it takes 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
So now they're complaining about PE because they've conditioned themselves to do that. So anyway, moving back. So the nocturnal erections in the morning wood, waking up with it, that's not necessarily something that you have to kind of judge as a metric for having TRT. TRT being excuse me, let me back it up a little bit. Testosterone pre-TRT is going to be a circadian rhythm-based process, okay? So you may notice an erection in the morning because your luteinizing hormone spiking and your testosterone levels are rising at that time, morning wood, okay? When you're on TRT, that circadian rhythm does not exist anymore. So because you always have a level of testosterone. So you may not experience a morning wood per se, but you should be having them at night. Okay.
Right.
Still, it's at some point. So can you get a morning wood? Sure. Absolutely. It's still there and plenty of guys do, but don't let it be like, well, I didn't get it anymore. It may not, because again, you're not in that cyclical pattern anymore. So it may not be something that's just there all the time. So it doesn't mean that it's not happening, but testosterone is going to increase your nitric oxide, and that nitric oxide is going to increase blood flow, and that blood flow is going to help you get nocturnal tumescence and get those 5 to 7 erections back. And when you do, your erectile quality improves. So that's one of the things that, like in my clinic, for example, we're getting ready to start P shots. They start not next week, not the week after, because I'm on vacation, but the week after that when I get back. So like second week of June, we're starting them. But one of my prerequisites to have the P shot done is you need to have an evaluation for testosterone. Because if I give you a P shot, but I don't fix your testosterone, I'm not really fixing your problem.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
You see what I mean? Like I can give you the P shot, but it's like putting a Band-Aid on it. And then eventually it's going to come off. You're gonna have to come back and you're going to spend more money on a P shot when we're not fixing the underlying cause, which is low testosterone, lack of nocturnal tumescence, lack of nitric oxide, lack of getting that 5 to 7 erections while you sleep. We need to restore that back to that normal quality. Then we can do the P shot, remediate the problem then, but now we're fixing it not only in the short term, but we're fixing it in the long term
too. Yeah.
So if you go to a place, with some erectile dysfunction, I have a guy coming in tomorrow. We're going to talk about this specifically. His T is very low. It's like 230, and he says he doesn't have a problem with it, but I'm like, well, he's coming in for Peyronie's too. So we're going to talk about that. But one of the things I'm going to say, listen, if I'm going to do this shot for you, you need to get your testosterone fixed, because I can do this shot for you. You're going to spend the money on it. And then guess what? You're going to come right back to me a year from now and be like, yeah, it doesn't work anymore. And then we're going to have to go do this again. and then you're going to tell me that it wasn't worth the cost, whenever
right.
in reality,
exactly. Sure.
I'm trying to set you up for success, but
Right.
we have to go this route.
Yeah.
So, but morning wood, yeah, I mean, you're going to have improvement in your nocturnal erections definitely within the first couple weeks, but it's a ramp up process, right?
Yes.
Up until like that 6 month time frame. I would say at 6 months, you're probably reaping the full benefit of having what it's going to provide in that department for that by about 6 months. I don't think anything's going to lag beyond that. At least I haven't had that in my clinic. It's possible,
Yeah.
but I've not seen it yet.
So for me personally, that was the first thing that I noticed.
Okay.
So sleep was number two. Number one was morning wood. That was with like literally weekday 6.
But you didn't really have a ton of problems with that though
I
going into it,
didn't.
right?
I didn't,
Yeah.
but it was like they wasn't like it just wasn't the same as it was before.
Sure, sure.
And then like
You noticed
6
some
days
changes in
into
it.
starting. Now, the other thing is too, Josh, is that they started me at 200 megs, which was obviously too high.
Right.
So I was, getting a little bit more than I probably should have. So some of these things probably happened sooner than would have normally happened if I was on at 150, I would
Right.
imagine.
And you were on an AI too for a period of time,
I
right?
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning. So, but morning wood was day 6 of starting it. I woke up and it was like, it was noticeable. It just wasn't
Gotcha.
like, it was like, felt like I was running out of skin. So I was just like, what the hell? And then that was number one. Number two was the sleep. And then it was the energy. And then shortly after that was libido.
Okay.
And libido didn't take off like where I was just chasing her around left and right. But it was like I said, I've said this before. My wife and I were always active. We never had like a downtime. We were always a 2 to 4 time week couple, which is beyond what most people.
Right.
But I noticed that it was like I was like, going after her a little more. And then
Yeah.
it was
Oh
like
yeah,
a
for
couple
sure.
weeks later, it was a little more. And then probably I would say about month 2, she was like, what the fuck is going on? Like you gotta like leave me alone. And I just couldn't
It can really be uh excessive in some individuals. Like it really can be ramped up
yeah. So
for
month
sure.
2, she was like,
DHT role in that too. So
oh, okay.
it's
Yeah,
not
month
just well,
month
but
2, a little after month 2, she was like, this isn't what we can't do this much. Like I have things to do. And I
yeah.
was just like, we'll find another time to do it. So we had to make plans, but I mean she's good. She helps out. So we still but like at that point it went from like I said 2 to 4 times to 5 times.
Wow.
And then now it's like and it's increased now she's on HRT now. So now it's 7 times. She's gonna be
Now
sick.
it's like, whoa, breaks.
Sometimes 10 times a week.
Geez, that's a lot. I don't even think I could even.
Yeah,
I'm on like rookie numbers,
it's
man. Not
fun.
anywhere close to that.
We have fun.
That's great.
Yeah,
I think that's really important too. An aspect I think often gets not talked about enough is that how important that is for relationships long term.
yeah.
You know,
I mean,
the
it's almost
stable
like we're
relationships
back
long
like
term.
when we were dating
Yeah,
because like
I
we
think
didn't
it's
do this stuff when we were dating. Like we
no, I think
text,
it's super helpful, and maybe this is why, you get marriages that you get through the kid phase,
right?
and maybe this is something that people should be looking into a little bit more. Is maybe this is why maybe we get perimenopausal woman, we get a guy with
Yep.
low T, and then it's just like,
Divorce,
and right now nobody can get along, and then
right?
when in reality you just needed to get it all fixed
Yeah,
and go back to how you were when you were 20.
yeah. And that's exactly. I mean, I was 24, 25. When I met my wife, she was 21, and we were like I said, we were always active. We were never this active.
Yeah,
And but now, I mean, we never texted like, and like it's like build up and like it's like we're dating again. It's like fun.
that's great.
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
that's good. It
Yeah.
should be that way because
Right.
it's healthy, right? And it's nice because you get to express, how you feel to your wife, and now you know each other like as good as you're gonna know each other. I mean, you got 2
Exactly.
kids, you got a life together, a house, And I think that's incredibly important. So um, I think that's one aspect that gets overshadowed,
Yeah, for
from
sure.
all this, that just kind of like, wow, it's okay, that's cool, but it's like, no, it's really important to maintaining a
Yeah. And
healthy
I feel
relationship.
terrible for guys because I do have guys that reach out that say their wife is just like not on board at all.
Right,
And
it
that
happens.
sucks.
It does.
Like that's, but
They're not on the HRT bandwagon, or they're not on the guy being on the TRT bandwagon, or they're not on both.
right. Yeah. And then he's ready to go. She's not so
Yeah.
much, you know,
It could be problematic in some areas where
I can
could
see how it
could
could
lead
be.
into some infidelity issues because of
Sure.
that reason.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have a person that's now kind of back in that realm, and another person that's not really willing to
Yeah.
entertain that.
Participate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That sucks.
It
But
does
I do
suck.
hear of those stories. So,
Or rather, it doesn't suck.
yes, exactly. Nothing is getting sucked. Yes. um, this one is honestly, Josh, this is probably the number one question I get, is gym performance and strength gains.
Okay.
Okay. Now, majority of the time, these are younger guys that ask this question.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But this is the number one question that I think I get when TRT, the DMs and stuff like that is, when can I see muscle gain? When can I see? And I'm like, well, that
I
depends
mean,
on a lot of different factors.
it does. It does. And again, and I know we've talked about this in several of our podcasts that we've done before. What's our hierarchy here? Nutrition, exercise, TRT, in that order.
Right.
So the nutrition and exercise are always number one, because you don't need three. You don't need TRT. I mean, TRT is optional for anybody. You don't technically need it. You can make gains with just nutrition and exercise.
Yeah.
You can have a terrible free T and still make gains. It's not ideal, right?
Sure.
But it's possible. Is what I'm getting at. So I think people are focusing too much on gains. So I actually just had this conversation today, um, with a client, and it was, I've gained a lot of weight, and I don't like that I've gained weight. I've historically been able to lose weight. What's going on? I'm not going to elaborate into this person's medical history, but basically what I'm getting at here is that's a common thing that I get asked, even in active individuals, where they're like, I've been going to the gym, but I've gained 10, 15 pounds since I've started. What's going on? Some of it's probably water, maybe a
Hmm.
small bit of it's lean mass, but the majority of it's probably water. And I say, listen, and I always tell guys this, I'm like, and I'm not going to tell guys that are like egregiously overweight, they should be losing weight. If our BMI is, 35, 40, whatever, we should 100% be losing some weight
Yeah.
pretty quick. Like within the first 2 months, we should have had some needle movement in the south direction. But for guys that are more of a normal BMI, I'd say like under 30, I tell them not to look at the scale for 6 months.
Yeah.
Just don't, because it's going to be a wild ride in that 6 months, and it's going to be up, it's going to be down, it's going to be up, it's going to be down. Don't worry about it. I just had follow up with the guy. I did his 9-month follow up. May even be a little bit longer than that. I can't remember. And I remember specifically seeing him at his initial follow up, and he's like, "Dude, I've gained 15 pounds." And he was a lean guy to begin with, like not lean, but like not fat at all.
Hmm.
I think his BMI was like 23, 24.
Oh, geez.
So higher on the BMLs, like higher normal, I'll put it that way. And he's like, I've gained like 15, 20 pounds. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I don't know. Like I'm working out, but like I'm gaining all this weight, but it's not all muscle. And I'm like, why? Yeah, obviously. You're not gonna put on 20 pounds of muscle in like 10 weeks.
Right. That would be
Like,
tremendous.
yeah, like you're not on trend or anything, are you?
Exactly.
But so basically, I said, it's fine. It's, I don't have a body composition analysis machine yet. It's coming. I've wanted one for a while, but starting up, there's a lot of other costs, and I have a kind of a business plan of what I'm developing over time, because it's not necessity, but it's definitely You could argue that it's not a necessity. It's just not a necessity to start. I'll put it that way. So I can't say like, hey, where's your weight at? But I said, just give it some time. Don't worry about it. So I see him back in 6 months, and he's like, yeah, I lost 10 pounds. Okay, great. So from the time I saw him last, so 3 months gone by, he's down 10 pounds now. And I just saw him back for his 9 months. He's down 20 pounds from where he started.
Damn.
I was like, dude, you're like disappearing in front of me. And he's like, yeah, but I feel amazing. And I'm like, you look amazing too. So that's what I'm getting at. Like, he is an active guy. He does go to the gym, but at first he was discouraged from the weight that he had gained, even though he was putting in the gym work and felt like he was making gains. Like, he was feeling like he was getting stronger. So I know we want to get back to that. But my point is don't hesitate. Don't worry so much about the weight within the first 6 months, especially if you're just starting out. Very normal to have weight fluctuations over that time frame. You need to focus on nutrition, exercise, and TRT comes in on that.
Exactly.
But focused on the first two, making sure we're eating healthy foods, not overeating with our bad calories, getting good resistance training. I would even say it's just starting out 2 days a week. That's all I do. I maintain at this point. I'm going to try to put a third day on, but start there. Or at bare minimum, go once a week.
You have to do something. Yeah.
Right. Get in the habit of doing it and then do that. But gym gains, as far as when you're going to notice them, I think it's relative to your level of physicality leading up to the point where you start training. If you're already a guy that's been in the gym, right, and you're like I have a guy, he's been with me pretty much since I opened. Wonderful guy, always in good shape. But he's like, dude, I've been working out, and I'm literally working out 6 days a week to stay here. I have no gain, I have no loss, but I'm just like busting my ass to stay the exact same size. And he had low T. His free T was, I think, 7.2, despite having a total of 650, 660.
Jeez.
Somewhere around there. So now we have him on testosterone, and he was able to obviously make those gains, and he made them very quickly, but he was already working out 6 days a week going into it.
Yeah, that's exactly
he wasn't in bad shape. So like for him, it was really fast, because his diet was already dialed in. His exercise was already dialed in. Whereas if you have another guy, we'll just use me as an example. I hadn't been in the gym in like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and right. I didn't even start right away.
Yeah.
Because I was in the process of getting this business started, and I was finishing up my other job before I'd quit completely. And I'll be honest with you, from a mental and like physical energy standpoint, I just wasn't there yet.
Sure.
I just was like, you know what? I'm not ready to go below the gym away. I just didn't feel like it. About 4 months in, I finally started going to the gym. And my gains for that first month were ridiculous.
I bet.
But I went all in, at that point. I was on TRT for 4 months, and I got a trainer, and I went all in. I went hard on the macros for like 6 weeks. I mean, I measured everything. I tracked everything that I put in my mouth got logged, and our training program was 2 to 3 days a week for about half hour of actual resistance lifting, and then about another 30 minutes, 15 pre, 15 post, or slightly longer on the tail end, finishing up the workouts and stuff. But I gained 6 pounds of muscle in a month.
Damn.
When I first started, and I lost 10 pounds of fat in 1 month.
Holy shit.
But I gained 10 pounds total.
Yeah.
The rest of it was water.
Yeah.
So those are, is everybody enough to do that? No, but I think it's just relative of, there's so many factors.
Yeah. For me, it was like the end of the first month. One day I noticed when I was putting my boots on, when I was leaning over, I felt like I was a fat piece of shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was like, I just was so bloated.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it just was out of nowhere.
Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And like when I couldn't like bend over to put my boots on, I had to put them up on a thing, and it just felt like I was like like all out of breath. And it was just a weird, and then that only lasted like 2 weeks. And then it
Hmm.
started like slowly going back down, but it was just the water,
Yeah.
but it was weird.
It's very susceptible to your diet when you first start too. If you eat a lot of salt, you're going to hold on to a lot of fluid for
Hmm.
sure. So
Yeah,
it's, just have to be careful when you do that. How much fluid you gain is
sure.
really to be diet related when you first start
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. And then for the gym part, like I was always going to the gym. So I didn't notice really anything. And it wasn't like I felt like my muscles getting bigger or whatever. But month 4, I noticed that it felt like when I was at the gym. Now I went, all through that time. So the first 4 months, didn't really notice anything. But in month 4, I noticed that when I was working out, I had more in the tank.
Yeah,
Like
for
if
sure.
I had to do like 4 sets of chest, just say, and I was just say, let's just say I was using 30-pound dumbbells, right? And when I was done, I definitely could do more reps. So then I would increase the weight, and then it was
Mhm.
like I could, and it was like, and then I started to feel like that month. I noticed that the following month, it was like when I went there, I just felt like I have to do this. It felt like I was like I needed to do it, and it was like So when I was there, it was like I was jacked up to do it. And it was like the
Right.
fire was there. You know what I mean? So that was like month 5, and then by month 6, it all like just kind of came together. And then it was like I noticed I was putting set because like I was increasing in weights because like it felt good, like everything was going good. So about like 6 months, that's when I started to see
You started to see kind
actual
of everything kind of gel together at that
right
point.
body composition changes. Yeah, I mean small, but like notice like something was happening.
Right.
So, but that was
Yeah,
my
I mean, so I think what you had is a pretty normal thing for most people. And like I think it's just relative of basically how you're going to get after it. So I think so many people are focused on like when are the gains going to come? When are the gains going to come?
yeah.
But I think the focus shouldn't be on the gains. I think the focus should be on the process,
Mm,
right? The focus should be on the gains are gonna come, right? They will. If you're gonna put the work in, they will happen. It's just it's gonna be there. But don't focus on obtaining them. Focus on getting yourself to a point where you can make that happen more efficiently, but fix the other factors that may contribute to a more diet, that type of stuff. Those are going to be more important
yeah,
than
definitely.
than the other stuff. So use that as sort of like a springboard to kind of like line it up for yourself, and focus more on the process, not so much of the results.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly it. I mean, there's so much into this. That's what when people say about, when am I going to see the gym perform? And I'm like, well, I mean, what does your workout look like?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you
What's
eat?
your
How much?
level of fitness?
Right. Do you get
Yeah,
eight
there's
hours
just
of
so much.
sleep? Do you supplement? Do you like, there's a million questions
There is.
that go into these things, but, and everyone just wants the thing, but, you just
Yep.
inject it and it just happens. I'm like, well, it doesn't really work like that. But it definitely will give you, like I said, for me, like if it gave me the fuel, and
Yeah.
I stopped taking pre-workout. That's what it was kind of like. So I
Wow.
noticed that at that point, like when I would go to the gym, I had like tons of like when I was there, I mean, I was just like ready to go. So I started like easing off the pre-workout and then realized I didn't need the pre-workout. Like when I went in there and I just like I would do a warm-ups and just by the time my warm-ups was like my body was like, we need to get this and get it going. And then
Yeah.
I haven't taken pre-warm or a pre-workout since.
I actually use a low stim pre workout,
Hmm.
and I've actually stopped. I don't take it every time, and it only has 75 milligrams of caffeine in it. That's it.
Right.
Um, so it's like enough to like get you kind of boosted a little bit, but not enough to make it like ooh, like you get the tingliness. Like
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't go like that far.
Yeah.
And the other thing I use is an L-citrulline, L-arginine injection. I've been messing around with that pre-workout, and that's actually been really nice for pumps at the gym.
Oh yeah.
So, yep,
Nice.
yep, we have it. It's L-citrulline, L-arginine injection. It's called Biaminos, and you can take it a couple times per week, but I think up to 3 times per week, barring you don't have any major blood pressure, vascular issues. It's a injection you give yourself about an hour pre-workout.
Oh, okay.
So carnitine's good for that too. Pre-workout
Yeah.
carnitine's excellent. So
I well, I even before when I had pre-workout, I still ate five Sour Patch Kids.
I think it's still smart. Get the
And
glycogen
I still
topped
just eat
off, you know.
five. I still eat five Sour Patch Kids. I eat one of each color, and there's
Okay.
five of them. My kids, every time I open it, they take some. But I have an enormous bag, and then I'm getting low now. I'm gonna have to re up soon.
You have to re-up. I
But
need to get some myself, actually.
but I eat one of each color like a half hour before,
Smart.
and I've always done that, and it's I don't know,
Should
it
do them like
works.
while you're working. I've seen people like put candy in while they're actually working
Yeah,
out
yeah,
to kind of get some glucose in so they can
yeah,
keep going.
yeah.
So,
It's worked so far. Let's see. We did that one. Oh, so two more. Um, mood, mental health, and confidence.
confidence is going to be one of those things that I think is more of a behavioral trait than more of a
Yes.
result from TRT. So I don't want to say that that's TRT is going to turn you into a very confident man. That's going to be something that you got to work on
Yeah.
beyond TRT.
Some guys may have been more confident before low T and kind of like
Yeah,
lost a little
and
bit and
they
then
maybe get back
regained.
to where they're at,
But if
right?
you weren't a confident person, you're not going to just become one. Like
No,
that's,
no,
yeah.
it's not how it's gonna work. What was the other two? So confidence,
Mood and mental health.
mood. Mood varies from guy to guy. I think again that's really there's a lot of factors that go into that. Are we on an SSRI going in? Are we subject to kind of mood issues in that? Um, I really don't focus on mood a whole lot until 6 months. Um, I do say, I do have guys report to me that maybe within that 6 month time frame, that maybe they were quick to snap at something and now they're not.
Right.
They would be in a situation they would fly off the handle, and now they're not. They're much more calm. They're more analytical about the
Hmm.
situation, and that happens at various spots. But I would say that generally that's going to happen within the first 6 months for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So we had mood, confidence,
And mental health.
mental health. Again, that's going to play into those, and that's going to be something that we're going to look at least 6 months beyond, because that first 6 month time frame, again, with all the physical changes and
Hmm.
everything that's happening. If I get a guy that comes in and he's on, had a guy today, he was on 3 different psych meds, and I told him, I was like, listen, keep taking them. He was on one for smoking cessation, uh, Channix for that, and then he was on Wellbutrin, and he was also on Prozac.
Mm.
Okay, and I'm like, listen, our goal isn't to get rid of these right now, but I'm like, at 6 months, we're going to start that conversation.
Yeah.
To start
Yep.
plucking things away, or at least starting to reduce doses to work on plucking things away at that time,
Yeah.
because you probably not going to need some of these. You may need, but we can probably at least get rid of one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you
So
could, right. Yeah. I mean, so confidence for me, I always was I was probably overconfident, but definitely, TRT definitely calmed me down.
okay,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when
I
they
hear
say
that a lot
people that
actually.
do like roid rage, I always tell people, like, I know guys that do just outrageous amounts of testosterone, and they're the nicest people you would ever meet. It's like just because like you do take lots of testosterone, the guys that roid rage, it's because they're assholes. Like
Right,
they were assholes before they did testosterone. Now they're just assholes on testosterone.
right,
That's all that is. It's not like you take testosterone, now you're gonna roid rage. No, you're just a dickhead. And like
right.
now you're just an
Just a
enhanced
dickhead on
dickhead.
TRT.
Right. That's all there is. It's not
Yeah.
like it doesn't make that happen,
No,
because
it's a behavioral trait for
sure.
sure.
But it's definitely calmed me down. Like I was more of a fly off the handle guy. Now I'm just like more chill, kind of like, easygoing kind of thing.
Yeah. I'd say
Um,
I'm kind of that way too. Specifically, like with my kids, and like
Yeah.
just little things like, they'd spill the milk and you're like, ah, I used to get so angry about just
Yeah.
dumb stuff. And now I'm like, well, can we just clean it up and let's move on?
Right. Exactly. The mental health. I mean, I'm balls deep into that. So when I started TRT, it's how I even got started with TRT.
Right.
Was my whole story that I'll go on a different day. Um, but I was on Klonopin and what the hell was the other one? Jesus Christ, I just literally just forgot what the name of it was. What's the one that everyone takes? Um, all the
What?
shooters, all the school shooters are on it.
Well,
Lexapro.
okay,
Lexapro.
Lexapro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the
All right.
school shooters at whatever, like mass shooters, all are on Lexapro, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Oh
So
boy.
if you're taking it, I was taking it. I didn't
I've
want to shoot anyone.
never had an SSRI.
Yeah. So I was on that for 3 years, and Lexapro I was fine with, but Klonopin's fucked me up. Like
Well,
I'm not good.
Klonopin's a benzodiazepine, so it's a different category of drug than what Lexapro would be.
Yeah. Lexapro I had no problem with, but Klonopins I had to take, so it was like whatever the smallest dosage was like zero point 0.5 or something. I would have to crack those in half and then crack them into quarters. And I could only take a quarter of one.
Okay.
Because if I took a half of one, if I took a whole one, which is the very lowest dose, I was fucking unconscious on the couch. Like I would go like, and I would just fucking drop over, and I was out for like 3 hours. And my wife's like, "Yeah, what the fuck? Like we have kids, like we can't be doing this." And so then I took half, and I was like I was working on a roof, and I was like, I felt like I was all fucked up, and I was like, I can't do this. So I would just take a quarter, and it was only like as needed, like when my anxiety, whatever. But long story short, 6 months into starting TRT, or 6 months into starting TRT, um, I just felt good. Like I realized at that point, like I haven't taken Klonopins for like maybe like a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe 6 weeks. I was still taking the Lexapro, but I was like, man, like you know what? And I just threw them in the. I was working at a job with a dumpster, and I threw them in the dumpster.
All right.
Haven't been back since.
That's awesome.
So, is my anxiety 100% gone? It's not. I mean, everyone
I
has.
I think I would say what's the word I'm looking for? A normal, this is my daily life of having some type of anxiety is normal,
Sure.
because especially nowadays, I mean, everything moves so fast,
Yeah.
right?
No,
And
100%.
anxiety is not being able to control, or technically it's the fear of things to come.
Right.
Okay. It's the fear of that, but it can also manifest itself into lack of knowing where things are going to head,
Hmm.
and having sort of a lack of control of a situation that maybe we want to have some control over. And sure, that can create a little bit of anxiety. And I think that's sort of just a normal feeling, I think. So I don't think anybody is truly without it,
Sure. No, yeah,
just
exactly.
because of how we are in society.
Yeah. There's,
But I think you definitely get a lot better at dealing,
yeah, for sure.
at a baseline level because
The
of that.
only thing that, like, thankfully, I mean, you've probably never had a panic attack. I never did until I was 40. And those are fucking terrible. Like,
I've
I don't,
seen people that have had them. I don't think I've ever had one. I probably had something similar to that, but so I can understand.
yeah. I mean, dude, I thought, like, when I grew up, I had a bunch of buddies that were on Klonopins, and they were on these things when we were like younger. We were like teenagers. And I used to always think they were full of shit, that it was in their head. I was like, you're just like a weak-minded kind of person. That was like my thinking.
Right.
40 years old, it comes out of fucking nowhere and hits me dead square between the balls. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was so I apologize to all those people because, like, I'm telling you, you do not want a panic attack is fucking horrendous. Like, it's just, it feels like you're dying. It's like it's never going to end. Um, I don't wish that shit upon anybody. So TRT, whatever it did, obviously with my hormones or whatever, squared that shit away because I haven't had
Good.
one since. But like I said, the anxiety is still comes and goes, whatever. But like, there's no way around that.
I just
Um,
did a speaking engagement on this exact thing, and it was videotaped. I'll have to see if I can find it.
oh, nice, yeah.
So
But the panic attacks have not. I've not had an episode or issue in 2.5 years.
okay,
So almost 2.5 years because
that's
August will be
excellent.
3 years. Um, so whatever. That's my story. Now I don't know if everyone does that. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what it helped me.
Okay,
So if I mean I definitely have I made a video on it and get guys that reach out all the time and I tell them, this is what it did for me. Hopefully it helps you.
right.
Um, I don't know if it will or if it does, but if they are listening and if it did, I hope it fucking did because I don't wish panic attacks on any person. Well,
Yeah.
no, maybe a couple people, but not anyone I like, put it that way. So let's get into the last one, Josh. How long does it take to see the full benefits of testosterone replacement therapy?
Every guy that comes into uh, my clinic, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, I say you need to give this at least 6 months. Have to. You have to commit to this for at least 6 months. Um, because if we don't have any improvement in 6 months, then something's wrong.
Yeah, sure.
And I've not had any guys come back at 6 months and tell me that they're not feeling fantastic. Um, you should be getting the full benefit of TRT by 6 months. Okay. Um, it is as much as you're going to gain out of it. 6 months should be your point of, that's where it's at. I could say maybe to stretch it to 9 months for a very, 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 very small select set of individuals, but that's going to be extremely rare. I would say almost everybody by 6 months will
Yeah,
have the full breadth of assuming you are trying to do everything you can to gain everything out of it.
right,
Right.
exactly.
We've changed our diet. We have started resistance training. We have, we're working on losing weight because we're, 40, 50 pounds overweight. That we are actively putting in something to get something back out of it. 6 months,
Mm,
definitely, for sure.
yeah,
Now, if you don't, I can't say that your workouts are going to be great if you haven't started going to the gym by 9 months, right? So in terms of what the testosterone can provide you, it's there definitely by that point, but you're not actualizing it.
yeah. You have to.
So
That's it. I mean, it's the fuel. You gotta put it in the car and
yeah,
go.
I was like at 4 months though, like I wanted to go to the gym.
Yeah,
I was
a
like,
hundred percent.
it is time. Like
Yep.
I want to go because I don't like how this is.
Right.
And I want to change it. And I finally had like the drive, the mental, like I wanted to get there and go.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, all right, like I have the drive to get there now. And I did. But so it just kills me that you have people that take this that don't
Yeah.
actually go do
Take
these
it.
things. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah, I think so for me, Josh, and a lot of guys are probably in the situation that I was in. For me, it probably took 10 to 12 months to feel the full benefits. And the reason is because in the beginning, they fucked me up. They
that's
gave me
true.
200 megs
That's true. You
and an
started off
AI
on a
from day
bad
one.
foot.
Right.
Right.
So I went 6 weeks or 8 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks at 200 megs with an AI. Fucking felt terrible. I mean, I felt good, but I also felt terrible.
Right.
Anxiety was like sky high. Just everything was, my blood work was all over the place. Um, so then they backed me down to 150, and I started feeling okay. I felt good, but single injections weekly and an AI,
Uh,
So it wasn't until 6 months in that I was able to convince them that I wanted two weekly shots, not one. And they finally, so 6 months, 7 months, somewhere around there, they agreed that that's what they were going to do. Just from
mhm.
guys telling me on TikTok, not from any kind of medical professional. This is fucking some dipshits on TikTok that
Telling
don't
you,
know
man,
anything.
there's so many crap places out there,
Right. And that's what their response was. They're like, well, who told you that? I'm like, these guys on TikTok. They're like, what do they know? I'm like, you'd be shocked what the fuck they
yeah,
know.
clearly more than you.
Exactly. So they finally got me to, so month 6, 7, whatever, I'm on 2 shots a week. And then now I start experiencing ED, right? So I get on TikTok, I start asking the community, right? And they're like, first question, first dude, are you on aromatase inhibitor? I'm like, yeah. He's like, throw it the fuck out. Right. And then it was like everyone after that, throw it out, don't do it, don't do it. And then there's ones that, oh, you need it, whatever.
Right.
So I just stopped taking it. I don't even tell them. I just fucking stopped taking it. Get my blood work done. Estrogen's fucking 70. They start freaking out. And
We'll
I'm
be
like, yeah,
fine.
I'm not taking it. And they're like, they break my balls. They say, just take half of one. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not taking any of it. I'm just like, I don't like if I have to sign a waiver, I don't give a fuck. Like for some reason, everything you're telling me was contradictory to the guys that were telling me stuff on TikTok, and the stuff that they were saying was working. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So I was like, now I was like all in on the TikTok guys. So like these guys and like the community was growing. That's when I started the TRT Dad account just so we could talk. And then now it's growing and these guys, everyone's throwing in. And it's like the overwhelming majority of the people are saying, don't take a fucking aromatase inhibitor. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you know, when the community has spoken, it's going in the fucking trash. So from that point, now I'm at month 6, 7. Now I'm at 2 injections a week and I'm not on aromatase inhibitor. So, you know, I think that like I had another 5 months to get that shit squared. And then it was like, I finally felt to the point where I was like, okay, like I felt like it was going up, like kind of increasing a little each month, like
Right.
something like my gym or my libido, a little, like just was, and it was like incremental, but I knew it was different. And then by a month 11, 12, 10, like around there, I could tell that this is it. And nothing's increased this
So
month.
basically, yours was about 4 months from the time that you stopped
It was probably,
aromatase
yeah, it was like
inhibitor.
4 to 5, somewhere around there. It
Okay,
was
and
kind of,
that's good. That's about average for a person in our clinic too, but we don't use AIs like at
right.
all, period.
Right. So
So
that's what, so when you're talking about with your clinic, it's, I mean, you're doing it the proper way from the beginning.
right.
So there's probably a lot of guys listening to this that are in the boat I was in
No,
and
you're
are
right.
like,
There
you
is.
know, you're trying to fucking navigate the waters here with a fucking broken boat. And, you know, it's like, so you're trying to, it's like, it's not lining up. You know what I mean? Like when you're saying, oh, well, 6 months, you're like, well, fuck, at 6 months, I was, you know, going through. So it's,
I just think it's crazy that places are still doing it. Like
I
it's
know.
almost like they're just like, well, everybody else has done it this way, so we're going to do it this way too.
I literally just had
And
a
you can
guy,
show them literature, you can show
I
them
know.
everything, and they just are like, no, too bad,
I
we don't.
just had a guy DM me the other day. It was on Memorial Day. It was on Monday. And he said that Friday he started TRT, single shot injections, 200 mgs aromatase inhibitor.
Dude,
And he was like, I'm trying to, do you think it's going to work? So I told him, I said, look, just try, like you may, the single week injections, for some guys, it does work. I mean, it didn't for me.
if you got a
And
really high SHPG, it's probably not bad. If it's really low, it's going to be awful.
right. That's what I'm saying. Because there is a small percentage of guys that just do weekly, one a week, and it does work for them. So I said, look, start it out. If it doesn't, you can always increase. You know, I'm like, the aromatase inhibitor, I mean, you've just started. Why the fuck would you take it now? I mean, now, granted,
50% of the
this is me
benefits
saying
from
this now,
estradiol,
but when
man.
you go back to me 3 years ago, I took it too
Yeah,
because they said take it. And I was like, okay, well, obviously, because like, you know, my thinking was then, as I've said before, testosterone good, estrogen bad.
right.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of guys think like that. Unfortunately, not the
Well,
truth.
and they're going to look at that serum value and try to manage a serum value for a non-serum hormone.
Right.
So they don't understand that, like, testosterone's supposed to be in the serum because it's got to go everywhere in your body. Estrogen doesn't. It's supposed to just be where it needs to be. So
Right.
if we're measuring a test of your blood, which is measuring serum values of things that are supposed to go literally everywhere in your body, because if it's made it to your blood, serum, it's going everywhere. We don't know what's happening in the brain. We don't know what's happening in the bone. We don't know what's happening in the prostate or the pituitary or the testes or whatever. We're not taking tissue samples of the aromatization rates of those specific areas. We're just measuring a serum value. And that specifically gets really skewed with guys with a lot of adipose tissue, because now they'll disproportionately have a lot more serum estradiol, but their pituitary, for example, could be like starved
Right.
of
Yeah, exactly.
estradiol
Yeah.
because it's disproportionately being aromatized by their fat. So it looks like they have high estrogen, but they may not in the places that they actually need it.
Right.
But it's people need to understand how that actual hormone works, not just being like, well, your value is 70 and that's high. And it's like, that's not really how this works.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, though, that's how a lot of these places do function.
they do, but they're unwilling to learn. And
I
that to
know.
me, the fact that people have the rigidity and what's the word I'm looking for here? Um, they're not willing to change their viewpoint based on the evidence given to them, maybe due to fear, maybe due to comfort.
Yeah.
It may be due to several things, but they're literally, you're like, here's the blueprint. It's fantastic. Follow it. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
can't do it.
I think, I mean, 'cause I came from like a big chain clinic, and like the girls that were there were really nice. And I don't think that they, like, knew, like, I think they're following a protocol from like their boss. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so like headquarters is sending out, this is what we do, and they're just following it. You know what I
Right.
mean? I don't think they're pushing back. I don't think they may not even know themselves. But so I don't blame them, because, there's only so much they can do. But, you know, whoever's running the show, and I'm sure there's, a board or something of, headquarters, um, are fucking stupid. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, I mean, how much more evidence do we need of this shit? You know?
Well, and two, I know we've talked about this before, but a lot of the online TRT clinics that are not owner operated. What I mean by that is, when I say owner operated, I'm clinician owner operated, like myself. Like, I own my clinic, I operate my clinic, I'm the lead provider at my clinic for guys.
Right.
Um, I'm talking about clinics that are where like the person running it is not a clinician. They're running the business. They're going to hire a physician group that literally becomes their quote medical director, and then has a group of people that work for them, like it's their group that they hire to do all of their clinical operations. But that same group of people, of doctors for like that clinic, gets hired for like 30 other clinics.
Right.
So it's
Exactly.
like you've got 30 to, X amount of clinics that literally have
Mhm.
the same group of doctors treating it, doing the same thing at 30 different places across the United States.
Yes.
And I know this for a fact, and I'm not
Yep.
going to call it any names,
I
but it's
know.
kind of sad,
Yeah.
because this is what's happening at X clinic, this is what's happening at Y clinic, this is what's happening at Z clinic.
Hmm.
And in reality, you think you're going to a different clinic. It's the same doctors doing all the
Right.
same things at all three of those clinics.
And think about this. How much time are they really putting into you specifically?
I mean,
When
I've
you're
heard,
literally a number, you're just a sheet, a piece of paper.
sure, you'll get a free consultation. A lot of places talk about doing a free consult. You're first off, you're probably not meeting with a medical provider at all. Like, you're not meeting a doctor for 20 minutes. I can guarantee you that it's not happening. You're going to meet a clinical coordinator for 20 minutes, which is somebody that's been, trained to talk about prompts, probably prep you
Mhm.
for some sales, this, that, the other, but it's free, right? So you
Sure.
think like, oh, okay, hey, cool. And then when you finally, get the doctor like gets your blood work, and that clinical person may get you set up for blood work, and you pay and whatever, and you come back and you see the doctor, and they go, oh, hey, your testosterone's low. Well, here's your testosterone. Go take it. And then that's it. It took a
Right.
whole whopping 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes, 10 minutes to go over it. And that's it. Whereas I don't have a free consultation at my clinic. I charge for my time, but I invest an hour to an hour and a half in you at your initial consultation to answer all of your questions, to go over all of your blood work, and then to educate you on this is what's going to happen. This is what's happening to your body. This is, as we just did, the timeline of events. We briefly kind of go over that, and it takes time, but I invest into that. And I have not had a guy walk out of my clinic and be like, wow, this was terrible. They've all walked out and been like, this was phenomenal. But
Yeah.
that guess what? That costs money, but you get the value's there. You're getting that in return,
Right. Exactly.
you know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, this kind of has like a, I don't know, what was it, 2012, 2014 pill mill feel to it.
Yeah. It
You know, and
100%
it's
does.
like it just has this like dirty kind of feel, like that. It's just
Well, it's very salesy, like we're not on here trying to pitch sales. I'm not here telling guys that like, I'm the best clinic in the nation and this, that, and the other.
yeah,
I run I will, give myself some confidence and say, I think I run a fantastic clinic. I do.
right,
Does
right.
that mean I'm the best clinic in the United States? I think probably not. I mean, I think I run a good shop. I think I'm one of the better clinics in the nation, but the best is, I think that's, a tough pill to swallow. And I have, colleagues that I think run phenomenal practices as well. So I would say arguably they run it even better than what I do at my clinic and have more knowledge. So there's definitely people out there that have more experience and have more knowledge in different areas than what I do, and they run fantastic clinics as well. So I don't want to sit there and say that I'm the best or I'm the fastest growing, whatever. I would consider myself to be a top tier provider. I would consider myself to be a top tier clinic, but I'm not going to go out there and say that I'm better than everybody else,
Sure.
because I think that's not the way to go about this. And I like to also take my network and uplift them too and bring them with me,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, your network is your net worth, and we
Yeah,
all have to
absolutely.
support each other in this. And we all,
Hmm.
I surround myself with people that think the same way, that treat the same way. So when people reach out to me and I can't help them and I send them to a clinic, that clinic is going to treat you pretty close to how I treat you,
Hmm.
if not the same.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not going to send you to a clinic that I know does things wrong,
Right.
because
Exactly.
that's not how I would do it. And I would feel
Right.
guilty sending you to a clinic that's going to
Right.
screw
Well,
you
it's
up.
your reputation too, you know?
Correct. It is. And that means a lot to me, because I've invested a lot of time. I've invested a lot of education. I've invested a lot of money into getting to this point. But, the goal of all of this is I'm doing this to help other guys.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does feel very pill milly. It feels very salesy. It
Hmm.
feels very, you need to pick me because I'm the lowest price person, or
Yeah.
this, that, and the other. And I think the lowest price is probably not somebody you want to go with. And I think the highest price is probably not somebody you want to go with,
Yeah.
right? Probably somewhere in the middle's best. Maybe the highest price, depending on, I don't want to say maybe the highest price, but you might look at the higher prices, but I don't know. I think you have to kind of do an opportunity cost for yourself. Is the value there? Am I going to get one-on-one attention? Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you don't care.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I mean,
But
it is, I guess
what do
it's
you
very
value?
individualized. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Because if I'm injecting something into my body, I don't know, to me, I want to know, first of all, I want to know where it's from. Like, I want to make sure it's
Sure.
from like a,
100%.
a specific place. I don't want it to be some random, you know, like Kurt at the fucking gym made it in his bathtub. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather, so for me, that's the way it is. And it's like, what I love if insurance paid for it and you didn't have, I mean, yeah, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
like, you have to like, make cuts to do like, do you watch fucking Netflix? Then cut that off a month. Or do
Right.
you spend how much at Starbucks? Like cut, you know what I mean? What's
I think people need to stop looking at insurance as providing them any value in healthcare. As
oh
somebody
yeah,
that's worked in that side of healthcare for 20 years,
right.
11 is well, what, 13, 11 as a nurse, 2 prior to being nurses, like a CNA type deal, and then 6 is an NP. Um, I think what we have to start looking at as insurance is sort of basically, I'm not going to get stuck with a $300,000 surgery bill for emergency surgery.
Yeah.
That's really what it should be for.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Exactly.
if I think everybody that has insurance should really look and go, you know what, because the traditional health insurance was you paid a premium and then you have your deductible and copay. And Anymore, I think it's probably the smartest way to pay the lowest premium that you can, and
Yeah.
then take the money that you would put it in an HSA. Like, be able to choose where you put your money, right? Because
Right.
we take
Exactly.
HSA, for example, I take HSAs at my clinic. That's fine. I mean, I'm offering you a legit health service. I just don't take insurance because insurance has so many stipulations of what you can, what you
Yeah.
can't do. But
Right.
when it's your money, you can choose where you want to put it and do whatever
Sure.
you want with it. And we don't
Yeah.
have any constraints. We don't have a person trying to deny you coverage
Right.
for
Right.
a $20 medication.
Fucking
You know, not
ridiculous.
not saying that testosterone costs it, but I'm saying like,
Yeah. No,
hey,
but
they
it's
wouldn't
just
pay for your meds at the pharmacy, you
mhm.
know. So why can't I cover it? Because insurance just tries to get out of paying for anything. Is really what it is.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the truth. I mean, that really is what their goal is. Their goal is to not pay for anything.
No, their goal is to just deny, deny, deny. I mean, that's literally the point. I mean, whenever I would have to argue with for a prior auth to get a CAT scan on somebody, they'd be like, "Well, you need to do an X-ray," and I'm like, "This person has a history of uric acid stones. Well, you need to do an X-ray, or you can do an ultrasound." I'm like, ultrasounds don't look at, they don't see the ureter. They're like, "Well, you still need to get an X-ray." I'm like, uric acid stones are radiopaque on X-rays, meaning they don't show up.
Hmm.
So what exactly do you want me to do here? Which is why I ordered a CAT scan.
And what? Because because of the price of the CAT scan?
Yeah, they don't want to pay for the more expensive test. So here, this is
Fucking
what's going to happen though.
motherfuckers.
This is what will happen. I'll order the X-ray. It'll come back. It won't show anything. Then I'll have to get the ultrasound. It'll say person has hydronephrosis on the right side, which is swelling of the kidney. That tells me that they have an obstruction somewhere. But guess what? It's in the ureter. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a stone. I don't know if it's like a mass pushing on it. I don't know, because guess what? Ultrasound can't see that because it can only see the kidney. It cannot see the ureter. So when I order a specific test, I'm ordering the specific test for a fucking reason. I'm not
Jesus
ordering
Christ.
it. So what ends up happening is you end up, instead of just them paying for the CAT scan and just getting done with it, now we've paid for an X-ray, an ultrasound,
And
and
the
a CAT
CAT scan.
scan.
Yeah.
Just do what I fucking say.
And then the fucking premiums go up because, like,
Yeah.
you know,
And then you wonder why. And then two, the healthcare contracts we have. I know we're kind of getting a little off topic here, but then I think we could do a whole episode on that, because I could go on for days about how terrible that whole system's set up.
yeah,
From coming from that side, from seeing the pre-billing side to the post-billing side, and just how jacked up it is. Save your money, folks. Like, get the lowest premium you can and just expect on paying cash for anything healthcare related. The only thing it should be like a liability car insurance policy,
right,
right? It
right.
just covers the damages of something else. That's literally what your health insurance should be, unless you have like a ton of medical comorbidities. But if you've got like maybe one or two small things done and you only take like one or two meds, lowest premium possible, pay for the rest out of pocket.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Bastards.
Bastards.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Well, we'll end on that note. I hate I fucking can't stand insurance companies, pharmaceutical, fucking and government, every one of
Yeah.
them. It's all
Everybody's trying to
greed.
screw over everybody else. That's the
It
problem.
fucking pisses me off. You know what I mean? Like the fucking greed of these people,
Yep.
you know? Fuckers. All right.
Yeah, it's a shitty subject. It
It
really
is.
is.
It's
Because it
frustrating.
never leads to anything great.
I actually tried. I want to reach out. I've been reaching out to a few people. I want to get an actual like someone who's in the insurance industry, like someone, and ask them like about, like, I want to talk to them about health insurance and like why is it so fucked up? You know, like why is it that, like if a kid wants to like a transgender kid wants to change genders and get testosterone, then why can't a guy who's on low testosterone get testosterone?
Right.
Why do you give me Lexapro and Klonopins and fucking, if I had diabetes, you give me all that, but then I can't get like it doesn't, you know what I mean? It just whatever.
Yeah. They're always going to try and just not pay for something. They look at
No.
testosterone replacement as almost like an optional therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, it kind of is an optional
Sure.
therapy. I think that's why they have those stipulations. Like, they want to make sure somebody's like truly hypogonadal, but you can still have symptoms, with, I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter what the total is. It's really, most of my guys with their free T's between 6 and 12, If they've got symptoms, we'll treat them. It doesn't matter what the total is. Like I said, I had a guy 3 weeks ago, his total was 1,075.
Right.
We put him on testosterone. His free T was only 12 because SHBG's through the roof.
Yeah.
That's what the primary measurement is. But they don't know that. They're just like, it's not below 250.
Right. We don't want to pay.
We don't want to pay.
Fucking greedy bastards.
But and then tier 2, though, that comes into a second question. Okay, let's say they will pay. Who's managing it?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
So that's the other side of the coin, right? Like,
right.
You can get it paid for your insurance in certain circumstances. Is the person that's ordering it and managing it for you know what they're doing?
Yeah,
that's the second part of the equation. That's another podcast. So
yeah, a whole nother thing. That's exactly it. What a fucked up system we live in.
It is. It's pretty terrible.
On that note, I hope everyone enjoy their day and whatever.
On that bombshell, it's time to end.
Yeah, God bless America and everything else. So, Josh, I will talk to you later. Everyone else, hope you enjoyed it, and pay the lowest premium that you can. Try to save as much money as you can, and don't give
highly
those
recommend
bastards
going that route.
Fucking penny more than you have to. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Amen.